Welcome to the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report, presented by Yamaha.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report. I am Lauren Bolander. This is Captain Rick Murphy, and what a day we had yesterday.
Man, didn't we, Lauren? We took Doris. You know, Doris came, and on her bucket list, she told us while she was here doing an article, let's take a look at the pictures. But we took her to Everglades National Park, my favorite place to fish. It was called Ladies Go Fishing or Day on the Fishing. She caught her first redfish, caught her first snook, and caught the first trout. Little trout, but the point is, the grand slam of the flats, Lauren.
That's right.
What a way to start a fishing career at 58 years old.
And she's a good sport already. She's a go-getter.
I never laughed so hard in my life.
Of course, we do have Dave Farrell at the workbench, as usual.
Yes,
Can't get rid of him that easy.
I'm here, that's for sure. We're going to talk about some kayak fishing and some new stuff.
Yeah.
New stuff. That's
and
what
we
you
have
do.
a super great audience in the house tonight, so we're off to a,
They're huge.
Off to a good
Man,
start.
we do
They
have
sure
a monster
are.
audience, the Stewart Fishing Club. I got that right, guys, right? Stewart Fishing Club drove down. Thank you guys for coming.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you, Lauren, you know, every week we have the theme species. This week it's kayak and canoes, and we got some photos that they send in just like they do every week. The first guy up is Brian Neal from Palm Beach Gardens. As you can tell, we do some offshore fishing out of these kayaks. The second photo is Micah Mixon with a broken, I got that wrong. Garrett Pfeiffer from Navarre with a nice, beautiful wahoo. Look at the stripes on that wahoo. And then
Beautiful.
the last picture is Devin Mayago out of Sarasota, 32-inch redfish. It's so cool, the fish that they catch out of kayaks. And we have Kwanzaa Henderson here tonight, and he's going to tell us how he does it right here downtown Miami.
I'm excited to hear from the expert.
All right, man.
Yeah. But
All right,
first,
let's go.
we're going to kick it off tonight, our kayak and canoe chat with Captain Mike Holliday out of the East region. Hey, Captain Mike.
Hey, Lauren, how are you? You know, in my region, we're really fortunate because you can fish inshore and offshore. And for the offshore guys, the best fishing is in Palm Beach County, where the deep water is less than a mile from shore. Launch out of one of the public beach accesses and fish jigging spoons or Spanish sardines or mullet or ballyhoo. Live or dead baits, really doesn't matter. You can bottom fish for snapper and cobia. You can drift fish. You can target dolphin, kingfish, and the occasional wahoo. And just, you know, expect a lot of bonitas in that mix when you're out there. And then for the guys on the inside in Palm Beach County, they have Big and Little Lake Worth, which has some great opportunities for snook and tarpon, throwing topwater plugs around Snook Island or along the seawalls at First Light, or fishing finger mullet in the Intercoastal Waterway for those juvenile tarpon that you see rolling north of the Blue Heron Bridge. Excuse me, in Martin and St. Lucie counties, you can launch out most of the beach accesses and fish the beaches for tarpon, snook, bonita, and the occasional kingfish, or you can dive those patch reefs that are out there in like 15, 20 feet of water for lobster. And then on the inside, you have the Indian River with places like the Sailfish Point Flats, the spoil bars on either side of the Jensen Beach Causeway, the Bear Point, Northbridge Flats, the flats off Round Island. Those are all great spots to target snook, sea trout, and redfish. Most of the time I'm doing that. I'm doing with soft plastics like a Bass Assassin, Smoking Shad or Gray Ghost, 3.5-inch dye dapper, or a copper juice colored sea shad with a 1/8 ounce jig head. Then you can also throw live pinfish or shrimp or pilchards with great success. The real key, you know, in the river there is to look for the bait schools and fish the edges of the bait. And one thing we haven't mentioned, we're talking canoes and kayaks, but what about stand-up paddleboards? I'm seeing a lot of guys do that. I've got a photo. Captain John Moskowskis of Stewart, he owns Flying Fish Paddle Sports in Port Salerno, and he was out there fishing Big Mud Creek, and he caught that tarpon on a stand-up paddleboard, that's a pretty good catch on one of those boards.
That's really cool. All right, Mike, let's stay inshore. What do you got for me, bub?
Well, if you're looking to catch and release a snook before going back to school, this is the week to do it. Pick a beach in my region, any beach. Look for the fish crews in the trough. You can sight cast them with a roadkill or a lime truce colored 4-inch sea shad or a small swimming plug, really anything that looks like a mullet or a juvenile threadfin. And you want to fish the lures in low light that switch to live bait when the sun gets up. And for baits, you know, live mullet, threadfins, or croakers. The first of the fall mullet one will be arriving any day, so the snook are really going to start focusing on those baits. And certainly by the end of the month, they'll really be focused on mullet. The nice thing about the beach fishing is that you can use light tackle, 12 to 20-pound gear with a 30-pound fluorocarbon leader, and a 2/0 circle hook will get the job done. And those snook are going to vary in sizes from 3 to 20 pounds, tarpon up to 100 pounds or more. I got a photo, snook photo. That's Sean Riley and Jackson Rankin Port St. Lucie with a snook that Riley caught in the St. Lucie Inlet on Sunday. Even with that dirty water, there's plenty of snook out there right now.
That's awesome. Let's go offshore, bub.
Well, Palm Beach County has had an influx of cold water in the last week, and that's really hampered the bottom fishing. But the best snapper bite really is north of Palm Beach, up around the Loran Tower Ledge, all the way up to the 6 Mile Reef in southern Martin County. The mangrove and yellowtail snapper limits are pretty much the norm right now. The best fishing's been after dark, but there's great fish being caught all day, even limits caught all day. For baits, pretty hard to beat a cigar minnow, a Spanish sardine, or a pilchard on 20 to 30-pound tackle, 40-pound fluorocarbon leader, and 3/0 VMC circle hook. You can anchor up and chum with glass minnows. The best action really has just kind of been drifting down the reef line. And for the larger snapper, a live pinfish or sand perch is pretty hard to beat. Average yellowtail snapper are 1 to 2 pounds. Average mangrove snapper 2 to 5 pounds. And then with this southeasterly wind blowing every day, it's been going for about a week now, the offshore bite's been sort of a mixed bag of dolphin, wahoo, and blackfin tuna. There's really no rhyme or reason to the fishing, although the majority of action's been in 250 to 450 feet of water around any scattered debris, rips, or color changes. And the real key is to get on the water early and cover a lot of water, just stopping where the conditions look good. The nice thing is that we're seeing some decent dolphin up to about 30 pounds right now. So to cover water, troll ballyhoo with a blue and white, or black and red skirt, or an islander lure. If you find something that looks good, work it for 15 or 20 minutes before moving on. And if you get some live baits on board, don't be afraid to pitch them out, around anything that you see floating. Just try and keep one line shotgun way out behind the boat for those wahoo and tuna. And when you find action, keep working that same area in depth the whole time. So that's been the offshore bite, guys.
All right, let's talk about bass fishing. You're our bass expert. Go ahead.
Well, the water is super high on the 11-Lake Butler chain in Orange County. And you don't hear a lot about it, but Lake Butler, that's got the bass schooled up and feeding in close to shore. You want to get at the boat ramp early. The top water bite's just been fantastic along the shoreline vegetation and around Bird Island, with anglers catching 20 more bass pretty much every morning right now. White spinnerbaits or a shad-colored dye-dap are another good option to throw at those schooling fish that are busting at first light. During the heat of the day, move out to 20 to 30 feet. They got big, deep holes in Lake Butler in the middle of the lake, and you work that deeper water with a Carolina rig June bug colored, or watermelon green glitter colored trick worm, or shad colored deep diving crankbaits, or even live shiners. And the Butler chain, in Orlando, it really doesn't get a lot of pressure, but when that top water bite gets hot, everyone in the area seems to know about it. So you want to get on the water early right now to beat the crowds. Average bass is 2 pounds in that top water bite, and a lot of 4 and 5 pound fish being caught. And that place is just on fire right now.
Good job, Mike. I'm going to go ahead and get a look at the Bennett Auto Supply hotspots from the East region. Captain Mike says inshore, spotted sea trout in the Indian River from Midway Road to Savannah Road. Topwater plugs, waterboy colored dye dappers, and live shrimp or pinfish. And then offshore, sailfish and big kings in 120 feet of water along the edge of the drop-off off of Jupiter. Live blue runners, mullet, pilchards, or Spanish sardines are going to be the baits you're going to want to use, Lauren.
All right, nice kickoff to the show tonight.
Yeah,
Thanks,
man.
Captain Mike. Right now, let's head to the Central West with Captain Jeff Page. Jeffrey, it sounds like you think you have bragging rights tonight.
Yeah, I'm going out on a limb, and I'm saying that my Starbright West Central region is the #1 kayak region in the state. We have more kayak launches and kayak accessible waters, not to mention some of the best backwater bays and estuaries, perfect for kayak and canoe fishing to get at without a long paddle. Starting down to the south of my region, Placida Park, Charlotte Sports Complex, Ponce Park in Punta Gorda all provide great, safe launches with shallow water, accessible, easy redfish, snook, trout fishing, even tarpon fishing without having to bust your butt paddling too far. Most of them you can be fishing within a mile of the park. In Englewood, there's Indian Mound Park. In Sarasota, there's too many to mention, but the Sarasota and Manatee counties both put out handbooks designed just for kayakers and canoes. You can get them at your tag office, or you can get them at a lot of tackle stores like my store in Sarasota, Economy Tackle. They not only offer the top brands of all the sit-on-top, tandem, pedal, and even ones that you can put electric trolling motors on, Rick, that I think you would like. Also, they also have the bigger yaks, and like Mike Holliday just said, really getting popular is the SUP, the stand-up paddle boards. Guys are catching lots of fish on those. They're rigging them with Yeti coolers. They're rigging them with rod holders, little leaning posts, push poles instead of paddles, and just a lot of different things. They have wang anchors, which will stake off the stand-up paddleboard, kayak, or canoe. And they also have the new power pole has this new little micro, which is like a little electric pump stake off. We also have expert instruction as well as demo days, rentals available, so you can find out which one is suitable just for you. Come on, give me a shout, and I can get you in touch with them. I have a couple photos tonight of a native kayak pro, Rusty Driver. The first one is Rusty offshore grouper fishing with a nice red grouper aboard his native kayak. And then the second photo is what they call a native ultimate, which is kind of a cross between a kayak and canoe, and Rusty pulling his beautiful daughter there, Ashley, while she fights a largemouth bass.
All right, Jeffrey, what do you got for me inshore, man? Great pictures.
Snook, lots of snook. You know, against our judgment and against our will, they're opening up snook season next month. I have to say one thing. There's lots of snook being caught right now out on the beach as well as in the inlets and up on the grass flats. The key, Rick, has been avoiding the grass mats and the floating grass, which we get a lot of this time of year, even out on the beach. Find clean, castable water, and you're going to catch nice snook. Remember, the water's hot, so handle with care. Try not even take them out of the water. Release quickly. Down to the south, Gasparilla and Stump Pass has been a great area to work with live pilchers, live freeline pilchers. And an overlooked bait, Rick, that I learned from a guy the other day is the smaller Mahara or Sand Brim. Real good snook bait. Freeline those on small, 1 or 2-0 circle hooks, even a 3-0. And then as far as lures go, that Rapala Olive Flash Trip Twitch and Wrap works real well as the Saltwater Assassin Violet Moon Sea Shad on a 1/4-ounce hookup jig head. To the north, Longboat Pass, holding lots of fish all the way out to Longbar Point, which is a big grass flat, and then Emerson Point and Rattlesnake Key. I suggest get out in the morning early or fish right there at sunset or nighttime fish. Rolling offshore, like Rusty had the red grouper picture in his kayak, the red grouper bite has been very consistent in my region, Rick, with lots of good keeper 12 to 20-pound red groupers being caught in the 80 to 120-foot range over just about any hard bottom ledges, especially ones showing bait stacks. The live bait, be it pinfish, squirrelfish, grunts, is out fishing your frozen baits 2 to 1. So once again, try and take the extra time to get your live baits and get out there and catch your red groupers. I have a photo tonight of Ocala Scott Bullard with 2 nice red groupers that he caught to the north part of my region up off St. Pete Beach.
All right, go quickly on the mangs,
Okay,
Bob.
mangrove snapper, look for the mangs over structure, wrecks, and ledges, in as close as 30 feet and on out to that 100, 120 feet. Live pinfish, shrimp, or pilchers have been the ticket. Light fluorocarbon leader, and don't forget, folks, get you a Chevy truck.
All right, great report, Jeffrey. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the Startron hotspots from the Central West region. Inshore redfish schooled up all over Bull and Turtle Bar in Gasparilla Sound. Throw live pilchers or a 1/4-ounce gold spoon. And then offshore, permit. Big groups of permit have been holding over all the nearshore reefs in 3 to 9 mile range. Flat, calm conditions early in the morning has made things very easy, provided that you have a 1/4-size crab, not a 1/4-inch crab.
Of course. You guys got to stay with us. On the other side of the break, we're going to head to the CCA Central East with Captain Jim Ross, and we have a special guest to introduce. And as usual, let Dave have a turn over there at the workbench. We've got lots more coming your way on the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report.
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by the Florida Lottery, Yeti Coolers, wildly stronger, keep ice longer, best parts, best prices, Bennett Auto Supply, Captain Harry's Fishing Supply Company, Chevy, the IGFA, conservation through education, get your hands wet, and Olukai.
You, sir, own a new Silverado. The most dependable, longest-lasting, full-size pickup on the road. And the best pickup coverage in America.
I never get tired of hearing that.
Nice call on the Victory Red.
Victory is mine.
The Chevy Model Year End event. The 13s are going fast. Time to get yours. Right now, get 0% APR financing for 60 months, or current Chevy truck owners can trade up to this Chevy Silverado All-Star Edition with $1,500 option package discount for a total value of $9,000.
It's 200 streamlined horsepower of Yamaha forward thinking. The all-new F200 inline four-stroke. Whether you're an offshore angler, pontoon cruiser, bay boater, or walleye hunter, the responsive and fuel-efficient F200 combines amazing power and versatility in one incredibly compact and lightweight package. The all-new F200. Legendary Yamaha reliability and the freedom of forward thinking.
For over 30 years, Guy Harvey has masterfully captured the wonder of marine wildlife in his artwork. Now he's sharing his inspiration with the Florida Lottery by creating 12 exclusive images for the Collector Series Guy Harvey Scratch-Off game, featuring a top prize of $50,000 and a second chance opportunity to fish with Guy Harvey himself. Celebrate the beauty and riches of Florida with Guy Harvey Scratch-Off games today. The Florida Lottery. Just imagine.
So many great experiences to share together. Marathon is the perfect place to keep your kids grounded, and an even better place to watch them soar. Marathon in the Florida Keys.
And now it's time for the news and notes from the FWC. August 17th, the ABCs about voting safety is in Dania Beach. September 5th and 6th, the FWC Commission meeting is in Pensacola. And also September 6th, Adult Hunt Master Training is in Palm Beach County. You can always find more information at myfwc.com. Right now, it's time for Off the Deep Ends.
Well, Dave, we're not at the Jägermeister Workbench, but
No,
you know
close.
what? People can't see this, but I am surrounded by two Converse guys in the fishing team business.
That's right.
Hey, Kwanzaa
Northland.
Henderson, I said that right?
Yes.
Kwanzaa?
Yes.
He's here to tell us about kayak fishing. So, to start off
He's
with
offshore kayak man.
offshore
yeah.
and inshore?
Right.
Tell me how you like to fish out of your boat.
Well, I like to fish mostly offshore, deep waters, maybe 200-300 feet of water, 3 to 5 miles out.
So tell me,
Yeah.
what kind of fish offshore have you caught out of a kayak?
I caught blackfin tuna, mahi, amberjack, grouper, a bunch of bonitas,
All the big stuff.
all the big stuff. Kingfish.
Yeah, you don't need a big
Yeah.
old boat to get out there,
Yeah.
especially down here on this end,
No.
where you guys get to live. You get that 120 feet to 200 feet of water so close to shore.
Right.
It's not even fair.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about the boat and how it's rigged.
Okay.
So let's start in the back. We obviously got a crate, rod holders, anything specific, or is that pretty generic throughout most kayak brands?
It's pretty generic. For angler kayaks, the ocean kayaks, usually they have rod holders. Some that's not made for ocean, they add rod holders with either these rod holders here or the Scotty mount.
I got you, the
rod
adjustable
holders.
Scotties.
Yes.
And so I noticed that they're actually twisted out. Is that because you troll while paddling?
Yes.
Or is that
I
right?
do troll. I have 3 different rods. Definitely for trolling when I'm going out to my spot or looking for fish. That's the best way to find fish, to cover a lot of ground. And I have my casting rod, and I have my jigging rod.
So your favorite way to fish out of the kayak, what is it?
Jigging, vertical jigging.
Vertical jigging.
Vertical jigging.
So you just use a high-speed jig like this
Yes.
one, drop down. Is there any specific color that you like over another?
White,
Okay.
glow.
Okay, because they say pink. I'm
Well,
just saying.
They said pink, but I use pink in I didn't catch anything.
All right, now
All
wait
it
a
takes is
second.
one.
This is not something typically, Dave, that you would see on a kayak.
A
Now,
depth finder.
It's a Humminbird little 365. Tell me, are you reading the bottom as? What do you use that for?
I use it to read the bottom, find fish, tell me the depth, the temperature of the water, everything, to see structure at the bottom.
Is that GPS? too?
GPS.
So you store your
everything.
waypoints?
Yes, I store my waypoints. And if I get lost, I find my way back.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, now, Kwanzaa, what is this big orange thing here?
Well, that's a fish bag. That's where I store my
okay.
catch. Or when you're out so far, you need water, food, something to eat. I put it in there with my ice packs.
I got you. So you use those new ice things, or just kind
Well-
of like those same sort of deals?
At my job, I get free ice packs, so
I got you.
I get lucky.
There you go.
Tell me, what about, why a kayak?
Well, first thing is I can't afford a boat. I don't have a place to store a boat, and the gas is killer.
That's
Right.
right.
This here, you can go places that you can't go with a boat. Skinny water, restricted places that you can't fish from land. You can get to a lot of places that I would like to go.
Yeah, fishing no
Fish,
motor zone.
No motor zone, exactly.
Well, I got to tell you, I appreciate how hard you work to get to where you want to go fishing.
Yeah, thank you.
But I can see, Dave, this man is fit.
Yeah, I might have to start doing some
I
kayaking.
think we need to sign up for a kayak. Maybe we can get a kayak sponsor. Ocean Kayaks
Hey.
looks like a good one.
Hey, that'd be great.
Hey, thanks for coming on
Thank
the
you
Chevy
for having
Florida
me.
Insider
Thanks,
Fishing
brother.
Report.
Thank you.
Lauren, I've got a kayak in your future, I think, for you.
I think Jim Ross might. We're gonna find out when we head to the CCA Central East, with Captain Jim Ross. Captain Jim, you say the kayaks and canoes can go just about anywhere the other boats can, right?
Well, they're really versatile, and they sure can, Lauren. And, you can land anything from speckled trout in the Mosquito Lagoon to tarpon out on the beaches outside of Ponce Inlet or Sebastian Inlet or Canaveral. There's, as long as there's calm water, you can normally use a canoe because you can run, a tandem setup in a canoe. But when it gets it gets a little bumpy, a kayak is better. But the canoes are great for parents and grandparents to be able to teach their families how to enjoy safe water activities in the outdoors, and they can teach and tutor and mentor as they go along in a canoe. In a kayak, it's kind of you're on your own. And a lot of the guys around here love that, though. They like that solo fishing, and especially if it's a rougher water conditions. A lot of guys around here are chasing jacks and tarpon and sharks out on the surf break right now. There's a bunch of tarpon out there right now, so I've seen a lot of kayakers this week. But we've also got a 15-square-mile area set aside as a non-motorized zone up in the northern end of the Banana River. And it's for canoes and kayakers pretty much only. But it gives them free range without fear of having to compete with any of those motorized vessels for the redfish and black drum and speckled trout and other fish that live up there. And speaking of speckled trout, the bite this week is consistent throughout my CCA Central East region. Live pigfish, live shrimp, live finger mullet, under a float, still the best ways to get them to strike. Over in the Mosquito Lagoon and the Banana River, the guys are fishing 3 to 5 foot depths right now, just off the edges of the flats because it's been a little warm. But over in the Indian River, there's a lot more docks on the east, especially on the east side of the river, and so they're fishing along there, and they're also fishing inside of some of the residential canals. Now, the Saltwater Assassin 4-inch sea shad tail on a hookup jig head is working really good. If you use something with some green or chartreuse in it, that seems to be working best right now. So the needlefish color, the electric chicken color, the silver phantom with a chartreuse tail, which happens to be one of my favorites, they're all working. And we've got an average fish running from 14 to 18 inches this week. And I've got a photo here of Clay Henry. He's got a nice 22-pounder that he caught with me on a recent trip. So there are some pretty nice ones out there right now. Now, as far as the offshore report goes, it's kind of more of a nearshore thing to start with, and that is with those tarpon that I talked about because they're feeding along the beach. Right now, you want to slow troll or drift with live pogies around the mullet pods, mullet and pogie pods. There's some big tarpon feeding in those pods right now, and you want to rig that live bait that you're using with a 7/0 to maybe a 9/0 size VMC 7385 circle hook. Rig some 60 to 80 pound Suffolk fluorocarbon leader to that and hang on because there's some big fish out there. We had a double this week with a 140 and a 155 on simultaneously. And then farther offshore, the guys are still getting some nice mangrove snapper. The 80 to 120 foot reefs and wrecks seem to be the best place to get them. You want to chum heavily with ground chum and then use some cut bait chum to get them to come up to the surface. Put a small hook in one of those small pieces of cut sardine or pogie or other kind of chum that you happen to be using, and that's how you're going to get these mangrove snapper to bite. Use a 20 to 25 pound test Suffolk fluorocarbon leader, because if you use anything heavier, these guys are pretty keen-eyed and they will not put up with that. You won't get the bite. So drop down in leader size and you should do okay. Our average mangrove right now is running 2 to 4 pounds, but we're getting snapper to 10 pounds right now with the guys that are chumming in this fashion.
All right, Jim, tell me about this tournament quickly.
Oh, we got a red snapper research tournament coming up on the 24th. We've got the 23rd, 24th, and 25th. My Catch a Memory outdoor show, radio show, is helping to host it. And anybody that enters a tournament has a chance to win a $2,000 first place prize. But we've got ladies, we got juniors, we got all kinds of stuff. It's going to be a fantastic tournament, and it's going to help FWC with red snapper research.
All right, good job, Jim. We'll talk more about that next week. I'm going to get to the CCA hotspots from the Central East region. Inshore black drum inside Hollover Canal, use live shrimp or cut crab on the bottom rig. And then offshore, slow troll or drift live pogies rigged with a 7.0, 9.0 VMC circle hook and 10 to 30 feet depths for sharks, tarpons, and bonitas.
Alrighty, when we return, we're going to check in with the Florida Keys and the Northwest region. And our good friend, Tom Dolan from the Florida Lottery has stopped by to see us again. Remember to check out our website, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter at Chevy FIFR TV.
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Guy Harvey Clothing by AFTCO. Bass Assassin and Saltwater Assassin. The best lures, period. Blue Water Outriggers. Everything for your outdoor adventures. Croquis, made in the USA. Drummond Community Bank. Costa. See what's out there. And Lumber Rock.
Introducing Helmmaster, Yamaha's first fully integrated digital boat control system. With Helmmaster, you can start your outboards with a swipe of a paw and control them with a single lever. Outboard trim and steering friction adjust automatically as you accelerate and decelerate. Adjust engine speed with the touch of a button. The Helmmaster joystick provides the means to navigate and dock precisely with confidence and ease. Take control of your next vessel with Helmmaster at your command.
At highway speeds, things can get pretty windy. That's why the Chevrolet Cruze Eco has active aero grille shutters that close at higher speeds to improve aerodynamics. With an EPA estimated 42 miles per gallon highway, the Chevrolet Cruze Eco offers the best highway fuel economy of any gas engine in America. Always thinking of ways to give you more while using less. That's American ingenuity to find new roads.
What is CCA? CCA has been representing recreational fishermen for over 25 years, and when your rights to fish are threatened, the CCA is there to make sure government regulators are making sound decisions. I'm a life member of CCA, and when fishery decisions are being made, the CCA in the room is fighting for our recreational rights. We need to give our kids the same opportunities to fish as we did. Do what I did. Go to ccaflorida.org and join for only $25 so you can protect your recreational angling rights.
Continuing the revolution. Faster, drier, even better built. Designed around Yamaha's latest technology outboards. Still built by the same craftsmen and anglers who launched the Bay Boat Revolution. Whether chasing world records, or time on the water with the family, or anything in between, there's a new Pathfinder model for you. Pathfinder, #1 for a reason, still.
Welcome back to the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report. As you can see, our good friend Tom Dolan from the Florida Lottery is back for another visit. Thanks for coming back and joining us.
Thanks. I feel like I'm part of the team here.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he certainly is. Yeah, first and foremost, we need to remind folks that they're running out of time to get registered for their second chance promotion on the Guy Harvey ticket, right?
Yes, Monday is the day, the 19th. So they have until close of business that day, which is midnight. And the drawing is the 21st. And that will be the grand prize for the fishing trip to Grand Cayman with Dr. Harvey.
All right, now, Tom, we got some new great games coming up, so tell me a little bit about those.
Right, we're morphing out of fishing season. We're going into football season.
Nice.
I'm ready for some football. I don't know if you guys are too, but yeah, we just launched a game this week. It's called $50,000 gridiron cash featuring the Florida State Seminoles and the Florida Gators. And it's a $2 ticket, top prize of $50,000. We're going to have 10 of those. And we have an awesome second chance component like we did with the Guy Harvey
Now,
ticket.
you brought a couple tickets for Lauren and I just as samples, but you know what? The texture on the ticket, tell me about that.
It's a little different. It's our first foray into that. We used to, or we have had scented tickets, some holiday tickets, some gingerbread. This is our first textured ticket, so it's really cool. It feels just like a football, actually.
Yeah, the pigskin ticket.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, Tom, tell me a little bit about who benefits from this collegiate game.
Well, the entire state of Florida does. By the time this game sells out, $5.5 million to public education. Certainly students that go to both these schools have benefited in the forms of Bright Future scholarships, and students throughout the state of Florida.
Right, yeah, if they can't see that, the Florida State University and University of Florida,
correct,
right? The students actually are the ones that directly benefit.
Oh yeah, I mean $1.3 billion to Bright Future scholarships to students that have attended those universities, which is a part of the greater number of 600,000 students that have benefited from Bright Future scholarships.
Incredible. All right, quickly, where can they find these tickets, Tom?
From Key West to Pensacola, at 13,200 retailers throughout the state. It will be in every store by the end of the week.
Man, I'm excited, Lauren.
I am too, and lucky for us, we got ours already.
We do.
Thanks. He probably brought me a winner. He's always lucky when he stops by to see us. All right, thanks so much, Tom, for being here.
Thanks for having me.
We're going to move right along. Captain Mark Johnson is filling in for Captain Randy in the La Jolla, Florida Keys region tonight. Mark, it sounds like the Keys have plenty of places to paddle around.
Hey, hello, everybody. It's Captain Mark Johnson filling in for Randy Tao, who's off in the Bahamas. The answer to your question is yes. You know, the Keys region has lots of places to paddle that kayak and canoe around, especially up around the Flamingo area and Whitewater Bay. Those areas have specific canoe trails that lead up into the backcountry of the Everglades, and they have some of the most exciting wildlife we have in the Everglades. Also, if you like to fish out of your kayak, there's lots of places around the Flamingo area and also throughout the Keys from Key Largo to Key West. There are plenty of places you can park the car, put your kayak overboard, and you can fish a lot of the flats and channels right around the Highway US 1. Quick note to add, though, if you're going to be up in the Flamingo in the Whitewater Bay time, your winter time is going to treat you better than the summer, just based on the number of mosquitoes we get this time of year.
That's exactly right, Mark. All right, tell me what's going on in inshore in your region, bud.
You know, right now the red fishing is just can't get much better. We're finding large schools of fish out on the open flats, and then if you're on the inshore side, looking around the trees, if you look along the mangrove islands, anywhere you have current, you can fish some live fish on a 3/8 ounce hookup or a half of a pinfish kind of fresh chunk bait on the bottom. That's been real productive this summer so far.
All right, tell me about what's going on offshore, bud.
You know, summertime, the dolphin's everybody's favorite, and dolphin fishing, it doesn't change. Every year it's the same strategy. You're looking for birds and scattered weed line, and this time of year you're 500 to 700 feet depth, and have your troll ballyhoos, your lures ready to deploy as you get close to the birds. And once you hook up on your first one, you can pitch out some other bait to see if they have any stragglers.
All right, what else you got for us offshore?
You know, offshore too, right now we're getting into time for the blackfin tuna. This week has been a very good bite for the blackfin and all the offshore humps from Islamorada to Marathon. You control small dark lures way back in your spread, and you will catch some nicer dinner-sized tunas. If you can get live bait, that's how you can target some of the bigger blackfin tunas early morning or late in the afternoon in the best conditions, or on days when heavy cloud cover and overcast. Tunas will stay up on the surface all day long. If you like to jig and work for it, the tunas on some of the butterfly jigs in the 4 to 6 ounce range will work great, dropping them down a couple hundred feet and on a rod with braided line, and jigging them back up to the boat will work well when those fish are down deep.
All right, well, thanks for filling in for Randy. I'm going to go ahead and get to the La Jolla, Florida Keys hotspots from the Florida Keys region. Captain Randy says, inshore redfish, look along the shorelines and mangrove islands where you have current. Fish live pinfish on a 3/8 ounce hookup or a half of a pinfish on the bottom. And then offshore, dolphin, look for the birds and scattered weeds in 500 to 700 feet of water. Have trolled ballyhoos or lures ready to deploy as you get to the birds. Once you hook up, then you might want to cast a pitch bait for any bigger dolphin that might be sneaking around.
Sneaking around.
That's something you know about.
Well,
Come on.
As you know, now it's time to take a look at what tournaments are going on around the Keys. First up, for more than 50 years, the Marathon International Bonefish Tournament has awarded individual and team champions scoring the largest bonefish and permit. This year's tournament is set for September 19th and 22nd, through the 22nd, pardon me. Named after the man known as Mr. Everglades, the Herman Lucerne Memorial Tournament is set for September 21st and 22nd in Isla Mirada. This catch and release tournament focuses on snook, snapper, redfish, trout, bonefish, tarpon, and black drum. The Take Stock in Children Backcountry Challenge, scheduled for September 27th to the 29th in Key Largo, targets trout, snook, and redfish. This tournament benefits scholarship programs for students in the 7th to the 12th grades. And finally, the Women's Fall Fly Classic, set for October 1st to the 3rd in Isla Mirada, is an all-release fly tournament. Species targeted are bonefish, redfish, snook, and tarpon. Right now, we're gonna go to Andy Newman in the Florida Keys. Hey, Andy.
Hey, and we have 3 upcoming tournaments in the Keys that have a huge impact on battling a deadly disease. The Redbone Series, sponsored by Robert James Sales, they serve as a major fundraisers for research and treatment for patients with cystic fibrosis. Now, in the Florida Keys, the Southernmost Light Tackle Anglers Masters Tournament, set for September 6th to the 8th in Key West, focused on permit, tarpon, and bonefish. October 11th to the 13th, the Baybone in Key Largo concentrates on bonefish and permit. And the Redbone, the granddaddy of the tournaments, November 1st through the 3rd, has anglers plying Isla Mirada waters for redfish and bonefish. Now, you know, guys, the first Redbone tournament was staged in 1988, and it raised $16,000 for the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. Today, more than $18 million has been amassed from Redbone fishing tournaments in the Keys and other locations to fight CF. That's a success story for sure. Now, for more details on Redbone tournaments and other tournaments events in the Keys, go to the Florida Keys website. It's FLAKeys.com. Rick?
Thanks, Andy. You know what? What I meant by that is whether we're in the boat or whether we're here at the studio, I can never find you. I mean, you're just a sneaky little...
Not true. False.
Speaking of sneaky.
Speaking of sneaky, now that's a good point. In the Yeti Northwest region is where we find Captain Jeff Hageman. Jeff, there are a lot of perks to kayaking and canoeing around you.
Speaking of sneaky.
Oh.
Go ahead, Sneaky.
Okay.
Hit it, Sneaky.
Kayaks and canoes, it's a great way to be stealthy in my region. You can really sneak up on fish, which makes it kind of neat. It's also less expensive, easier to maintain than having a regular boat. And you can get a lot of places a normal boat can't get to. But the big thing is you're covering more area than you are when you're waiting, and you can get up there and be really stealthy and make some good casts and do a lot of good sight fishing in my region. There's a lot of places you can put in. There's a lot of launches. Just check the local area as far as kayak launches go, and there's plenty of them. But inshore right now, our snook bite right now has been really good in the Weeden Island picnic area and the 4th Street flat. They're holding a lot of good fish since this last moon we've had, a strong tide.
You there, Jeff? All right, well, let's take a look at the Navionics from Jeff's region. I don't know if he's still there. We'll see if we can get him back on the phone. If not, I'll finish his report for him. But where Captain Jeff was talking about is Fort DeSoto. Now, Fort DeSoto is a place where a lot of the kayakers loved to launch. And the key is that all of these fingers that we have right here are always seem to be protected by the wind. Whether the wind's out of the east, northeast, southeast, there's all these shorelines within inside of Fort DeSoto. Now, if we take a look at the other chart, as we look at these Navionics sonar soundings, the thing that we need to understand in the channel, the main shipping channel there, is that it certainly actually has a lot of soundings. Now, these potholes, as the pilchards and all the live bait seem to come around, what's going to end up happening is that the bait's going to stack up there. The kingfish, the groupers, as well as some late season tarpon are going to be easily found there. Now, I don't know whether we still got Jeff on the phone, but if we don't, I'm going to... Go ahead, Jeff. Tell me what else you got going on.
The snook bite in my region's been really good. Around the Picnic Island, Weeden Island area, 4th Street flat, holding a lot of fish. Pinfish right now and sardines have been the key. 25 to 30 pound suffix fluorocarbon leader has been the trick, and you want to use a 2-aught to 4-aught hook depending on the size bait you're using. Offshore right now, our AJs have been really consistent in 80 to 120 feet of water over wrecks and springs. Springs offshore have been holding a lot of fish right now. The fish have been a little spooky, so you want to have fast-moving baits. Spanish sardines, thread fins, blue runners will help you get a better bite. Fish have been averaging anywhere from 35 to 55 pounds, and you might want to try a little lighter leader because the fish have been a little tougher to get the bite right now.
All right, what do you got
Also-
offshore? Go ahead, Bub.
Also offshore, our hogfish bite has been getting better and better every year. 4 to 7 pounds has been our average. You want to fish over sea fans or live rock bottom, you want to use a really light leader, 20 to 30 pound test, fluorocarbon, and a 1/0 to 2/0 hook, and you want to hide that piece of shrimp or squid in the hook. They got pretty good eyesight. And also last weekend, I got to do a little retreat and went to the plantation on Crystal River. It's a great place to stay, great accommodations, good base camp for going scalloping, and I got some video there of some scalloping we did around the Gomez Rocks area. We did really well, limited out on scallops, had a lot of fun, and it's a great thing to go take the family to go do. Still got plenty of time to go do it, and lots of scallops.
All right, Jeff, good job. We're going to go ahead and take a look. Tell me a little bit about this video here, Bub. When you're scalloping, it looks like it's really shallow water. Where are you looking for them?
You're actually looking for their eyes. Because at the top of their shell, they'll either be orange or red, or excuse me, orange or white or brown on the bottom, but the top will actually be covered in a kind of a grass, and they use that to camouflage. But you're looking for, they got 50 bright neon blue eyes, and you're looking for those neon blue eyes as they sit up and look at you. And you can actually, if you put your hand underneath them, you can get them to swim up out of the grass, and that's how they actually move. They open and close their shell real fast to move in and out with the tides. But you're looking for those neon blue eyes.
All right, thank you so much for clarifying that for us. I'm going to go ahead and get to the Drummond Community Bank hotspots from the Northwest region. Inshore, Captain Jeff says, snook on the outgoing tide around the passes and bridges or the beaches, use pinfish and sardines as bait. And then offshore, snapper on the high relief structure, use a tail hook shrimp on a hookup jig. And I'm looking for those neon eyes. We got a giant audience here, so I'm going to look for those neon blue eyes.
They're probably out there.
They're probably out
there. When we return, we're going to check in with the Panhandle and Captain Pat, and we're going to let Dave show off his goods from the workbench. Don't miss it.
Show off his goods.
17 countries.
Now those goods.
17 countries.
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by CCA, the voice of recreational anglers for over 25 years. The Florida Keys and Key West. Come as you are. Hookup Lures, premium lures for serious anglers. La Jolla Resort, a place for family and fishermen. And Maverick Boat Company, makers of premium brand boats. Maverick, Hughes, Pathfinder, and Cobia.
Hi, I'm Captain Rick Murphy, and you already know that whenever I need to repair my boat, my truck, or even my trailer, I'm going to head right over to Bennett Auto Supply. Bennett Auto Supply has a lot of quality products that's going to fit all my needs. Whether it's boat chamois, batteries, or spark plugs, they have everything there, and they certainly are a lot cheaper than most marine stores. So remember, Bennett Auto Supply, the best parts, the best prices at Bennett Auto Supply.
He's a 20 years straight, get to work on time. He's loved one woman for all his life. Everybody knows he ain't just tough, he's strong.
The all-new 2014 Chevy Silverado. Strong for all the roads ahead.
You know, Dave, every week over here at the new products Jägermeister Workbench is my favorite part of the whole show.
Well,
so
good.
Let's go ahead and get with
Well,
it.
we're going to start off. We got some of these native eyewear sunglasses. These are really cool glasses because you can switch out the lenses.
Oh, yeah?
These come with a Sport Flex lens, which is kind of like an extra lens for shooting or whatever you want to do. And they come with a variety of different lenses, but they just kind of, watch, I won't be able to do it because, it's on TV, or I'll break one or something. There they go. Pops out. and you pop one back in. I'm going to try to go slow. Or did I pick up the wrong one? No, I didn't. I got it.
You got the right one?
No, I didn't.
Oh, well.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, see,
We don't expect you to know how to
no,
read the
but anyway, these things
instructions.
pop right back in. Don't give native eyewear a problem just because I couldn't do it. But
Right.
you can do it.
Well, you got pressure.
Yeah, they got really cool. You know, they got really good rubber parts where they're supposed to be for your temples and on your nose, so the things won't slip. Polarized, and again, they come with really cool switch out things, and they come snap right back in. I just can't do it on TV. This, I went to the ICAST show, and this was one of the things that they introduced. This is an Ambassador Morem reel. That one has 10 ball bearings in it. It holds 135 yards of 30-pound braid. It holds 135 yards of 12-pound mono. It actually gets 15 pounds of drag, which,
Whoa.
you know, guys
That's a
using,
lot for a little reel.
Yeah, guys using 30-pound test line, you know, for blue marlins don't use 15 pounds of drag most of the time. And this is, you know, Ambassador makes their stuff, you know, their big saying is for life. And if you buy one of these things and you take care of it, I've had Ambassador reels that have lasted me 20 years already, and they're still really good. You really can't go wrong with Ambassador stuff. That quorum is their new one. This is the new Yeti cooler. This is their new color. This is the ice blue. You know, Yeti, we've had some Yetis on here before, but they have, you know, really thick walls, you know, 2-inch walls, all stainless hardware on them. Nice rubber latches. They're grizzly bear guaranteed. A bear can't get in these things. They got some kind of grizzly certification where a bear can't get in them. Nice hard dry basket for you. What I like about it is it has a totally removable plug, but it'll drain without totally removing it as well. These things they'll hold ice for 9 days or more.
I can even testify how tough they are. My son Ridge decided to park his 1975 Hughes on top of his Yeti.
And it just held it up?
It held it fine. He's still using it.
Yeah, you can't really beat those Yeti coolers, and that's the new color, the ice blue.
Dave, what's with the lingerie, Bub?
Well, this is some of the ex officio stuff, and they make really, really good stuff. This is their underwear, and their big catchphrase is 17 countries, 6 weeks, and one pair of underwear. 6 weeks and one pair of underwear. It says, and then it says, okay, maybe 2. Because you take one and you wash them off in the sink, and you dry them, and you wear the other pair, and you can go for a long time with these things. They're really, really nice pairs of underwear. But we really wanted to talk, I just wanted to say underwear on TV. We really wanted to talk about the nice officio shirts. And this is the men's crosswind shirt. It's extremely, extremely light, and it's a good-looking shirt that you could actually fish in. Right. If you wanted to fish in this shirt, you could easily fish in it. It's not heavy at all. It's incredibly light. It's got hidden vents everywhere, even on the sides here. You can see it's got venting as well, hidden inside. It's got, you know, the roll-up sleeves. It's got a really big ventilation cape in the back, as well as a three-tiered collar. So this collar goes all the way up. It's got 3 tiers to it, so you can wrap it all the way up to your neck and cover up your face.
All right.
Ex Officio they're just starting to make some really, really good fishing stuff.
Next week we'll talk about the gill rain gear.
Yeah, well, I was going to talk about those plastic pants for the, because that helps in a kayak when you wear some rubber pants.
Absolutely.
You know?
Anything rubber's a good
keeps everything
thing.
dry.
All right, Lauren, where are we going next?
Well, quickly, I just want to say, Dave, I don't know about that because, Rick, you told me underwear was only good for 4 days. Inside, outside, frontwards, backwards.
There you go. That'll work.
Look, it's just what he said. That's what he told me.
It's 6 weeks.
Yeah, sure. Next up, we're going to move to the Florida Panhandle with Captain Pat Deneen. Captain Pat, kayaks and canoes have a popular cousin worth mentioning, right?
Yes, they do, Lauren. They sure do. I mean, canoes and kayaks are certainly popular up here, but stand-up paddleboard fishing is probably growing as fast, if not faster, than the kayak fishing. And there's plenty of good inshore places. West Bay in Panama City, St. Joe Bay, the islands in Santa Rosa Sound, Blackwater Bay over in Pensacola all provide very good protected water kayak fishing. And they're mostly targeting redfish, trout, Spanish mackerel, ladyfish, and bluefish. But the panhandle kayakers and paddleboarders, they're not just inshore. Many of them are fishing the nearshore wrecks regularly for snappers, jacks, and king mackerel. They're also targeting migrating fish like cobia during April and tarpon in July. And they've actually caught some blue water surprises as well. Last fall, 2 sailfish were caught by stand-up paddleboarders, and this summer a wahoo was caught by a kayaker right off Navarre Beach. And what's cool, next week, if you want to learn more about kayak fishing in the Panhandle, North Light Marina in Niceville on August 21st at 7 p.m. is having a free seminar, and it's presented by North Light and Yamaha. So if you got the time and the interest, go check them out and learn a little bit more about it.
All right, let's stay inshore, Pat.
Yeah, Rick, inshore, the mangrove snapper fishing still remains very good. It's a consistent bite in all the Panhandle passes on the jetties and the bridges, and also in the bays. Fish those deeper structures near the passes, particularly, like I said, those bridge pilings, the deep water docks, rock piles. Use a Carolina rig with 15 to 25 pound leader and a small circle hook baited with a live shrimp, a pilchard or a small finger mullet, or also a small spot minnow. The mangrove snappers are running 12 to 14 inches, but they're also catching quite a few slot redfish and a few keeper flounder as well, particularly over in Pensacola Pass for those flounders. Moving offshore, the blue water fishing has stayed real good this past week. There's plenty of green water all the way out to about 60 miles, but after that you find a real good chance of finding a promising rip. We fished south and west of the spur this past weekend, found some good weed lines and big sargassum islands with bait and life on them. There wasn't a lot of current, but we still caught a mess of dolphins, some wahoo, and a white marlin. Further west over in the dumping grounds, there was a good strong current push with green water on one side, blue water on the other side, and there's quite a bit of fish caught over there. The Conundrum, a Viking out of Orange Beach, they fished near the Deepwater Nautilus. They caught 4 blue marlins and a 140-pound yellowfin, as well as some dolphins and wahoos. The bottom line is the green water is north of the spur, with the edge running pretty much northeast to southwest. Run past the color change, and you're likely to find good grass lines, bait, and good fishing. And this weekend's weather, it might possibly push some of that blue water even further north. So pull ballyhoos, ballyhoo islander combinations and small to medium-sized plastics on 50 to 80-pound tackle. And if you don't want to run that far offshore but still want to catch a mess of fish to take home, hit the natural bottom in 100 to 200 foot of water for vermilion snappers and white snappers. Use a 2-hook chicken rig baited with cut squid or cigar minnows just off the bottom. And if you're on a good bite, send a butterfly snapper back down for grouper or even fish mid-water for amberjacks. The mingoes and white snappers are running 2 to 3 pounds.
All right, great job, Pat, from the Panhandle region. I'm going to go ahead and get to the blue water outrigger hotspots from the Panhandle. Let's see what Captain Pat recommends that we go do this weekend. Captain Pat said that we're going to go inshore. Snook. No, that's the Drummond Bank hotspots. Inshore hotspots for the Panhandle is going to be drift the butterfly ladyfish over the outside in Destin Pass from 15 to 30 feet of water for black tip sharks. And then offshore, once again, you want to make the run south and southwest of the spur to the blue water for the dolphin, the wahoo, and the billfish.
Okay, guys, stay with us. When we return, we're going to hear from a couple of brothers in the south, Ronnie Houston in the southwest and Jimbo Thomas in the southeast. There's much more to come on the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report.
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Chevy, the Florida Lottery, Best Parts, Best Prices, Bennett Auto Supply, Contender Boats, Performance Through Innovation, Navionics, We Start Where the Roads End, and Guy Harvey, artist, explorer, marine scientist, conservationist, and diver.
You, sir, own a new Silverado, the most dependable, longest-lasting, full-size pickup on the road. And the best pickup coverage in America.
I never get tired of hearing that.
Nice call on the Victory Red.
Victory is mine.
Mm-hmm. The Chevy Model Year End Event. The 13s are going fast. Time to get yours. Right now, get 0% APR financing for 60 months, or current Chevy truck owners can trade up to this Chevy Silverado All-Star Edition with $1,500 option package discount for a total value of $9,000.
Continuing the revolution. Faster, drier, even better built. Designed around Yamaha's latest technology outboards. Still built by the same craftsmen and anglers who launched the Bay Boat Revolution. Whether chasing world records, or time on the water with the family, or anything in between, there's a new Pathfinder model for you. Pathfinder, #1 for a reason, still.
For over 30 years, Guy Harvey has masterfully captured the wonder of marine wildlife in his artwork. Now he's sharing his inspiration with the Florida Lottery by creating 12 exclusive images for the Collector Series Guy Harvey Scratch-Off game, featuring a top prize of $50,000 and a second chance opportunity to fish with Guy Harvey himself. Celebrate the beauty and riches of Florida with Guy Harvey Scratch-Off games today. The Florida Lottery. Just imagine.
It's 200 streamlined horsepower of Yamaha forward thinking. The all-new F200 inline 4-stroke. Whether you're an offshore angler, pontoon cruiser, bay boater, or walleye hunter, the responsive and fuel-efficient F200 combines amazing power and versatility in one incredibly compact and lightweight package. The all-new F200. Legendary Yamaha reliability and the freedom of forward thinking.
Welcome back to the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report. Right now we're going to visit Captain Ron Houston in the Southwest. Ronnie, talk to us about kayaks and canoes in your region.
You know, believe it or not, Lauren, over the last couple of years, it's something that's become real popular, and I truly believe it's due to the fuel cost, stealth, and most people can put in just about anywhere you want without even having to pay a boat ramp fee. And then also, the advantage of fishing super shallow water now gives you good stealth. But basically, there's really nothing really different as far as the fishing when it comes to the kayaks. You want to follow the techniques and baits depending upon the species, but most of our weekly reports cover that information. But if you're really looking to get started or learn more about some organizations that can guide you in whatever you're looking for all through the region, here's a couple tips. You got Everglades Adventure Tours down in Everglades National Park. As you move up into Naples, you can look up the Naples Kayak Company. Also, a little further up towards Bonita and Lee County, Kayak Rentals of Lovers Key State Park, and a little further to the north, Adventure Water Sports of Fort Myers, and then furthest to the north of my region, Grand Tour Kayak Center in Placida. But truthfully, Lauren, and I'm sure Rick will agree, I'm all about that 250 SHO.
That's for sure. I'm about the power. All right, Ronnie, let's take some power and go inshore. What do you got, bub?
You know what? Heat has been the key, and water temperature has been the key for some anglers right now. Some guys I hear are struggling with, they believe it's the water temps. But I've been playing around in the Everglades backcountry, concentrating for the snooks from Two Island Bay to Hurdles Creek. And the main focus here is looking for moving water on the last half of the outgoing to the first half of the incoming, especially with all the rain we've had in the last several weeks. The water table's up real high, and that fresh water, while it's moving, seems to be a little cooler. But you want to concentrate on the points, mouths of the creeks, cut-throughs, or a combination of all these things put together with a combination of wind, as long as everything's blowing in all the same direction, especially fishing the windier shorelines. The base of choice right now have been gold spoons with a 5-inch Bass Assassin jerk shads, hook weedless with a 1/4 ounce weight in whiter glow. Also small poppers or 3 to 4 inch slip plugs in the colors of orange, gold, white, chartreuse, or root beer in color. And truthfully, if I feel I'm on a struggle bite and I truly think it's the water temperature, as I'm running, I've got that big screen 1198 Hummingbird, and if I'm in 90 degrees, it doesn't hurt as I'm running to be watching that. And if I hit 84 degrees, start fishing an area and start catching fish, I'm either learning a new area or no, water temperatures are the key. So right now with the heat we're having, keep an eye on that water temperature. Now, offshore, you want to concentrate on the mangrove snappers, anywhere from Fort Myers Beach to Stump Pass, and you want to concentrate on wrecks and ledges 12 to 25 miles out. Now, fish can be caught on the wrecks, guys, but the better fishing seems to be on the ledges due to all the predators that are on the wrecks once you hook these mangrove snapper. Water doesn't have to be real clean, especially if it's a little cloudy. Your chances are better at catching the mangrove snappers. Once you get in these areas or try to find these fish, get a chum slick going or mix chum and sand balls. Seems to be working better once located. Once you locate these fish and get them up, small cut baits such as shrimp, squid, and pilchards have them working, or free line a live pilchard out the back, chance to get a good-sized mangrove snapper. Also, right now, king mackerels, these fish aren't in abundance, but right now, Marco the New Pass concentrating on wrecks, ledgers, or while drifting hard bottom while fishing for grouper. It's been a pattern, it's been a scatter bite, but they have been catching some kingfish right now by simply leaving a blue runner or a live thread fin out the back of the boat or off the side of the boat while you're anchoring. Fishermen average right now 12 to 25 pounds. Like I say, large live baits such as thread fins and blue runners, or trolling large lip plugs, black and purple in color or blue and white, but chances seem to be better drifting ledges with large live baits like I mentioned earlier.
Hey, Ronnie, I do have a question for you. You know, you're talking about using your Hummingbird and running and looking at different types of water temperature. Is there anything else that you specifically use that for other than while you're running, you know, certainly going to GPS waypoints and whatnot? Tell me how
Well, you know
else
what?
you use it.
Truthfully, Rick, both you and I both know we fished all over the country, and we know the Everglades like the back of our hand, and we truly don't need a GPS. But some tips I can give you is, yeah, I try to mark troughs, and I try to mark ledges and stuff like that. But truthfully, you know, some guys think they know it all. But you know what? When you get that fog, or say you break down at night, or it starts raining and you want to run through this rainstorm, that's what I really like that Humminbird from. I concentrate on my other efforts, but you know what? Don't think you know it all the time. Keep a GPS with you in case you get some of those aspects of fog, rain, or something happens and you get caught in the dark.
Absolutely, you're right. And certainly the Navionics helps by being able to see all the different contours and where the different water breaks are as far as depths go, the depth soundings. But I'm going to go ahead and get to the hot spots from the Southwest region. Good job, Ron. Captain Ron says inshore fish, Rocky Bay to Hickory Bay, mid-morning fall along the east wall using live pinfish, shrimp, or cut baits. And then offshore, gags and red groupers, Marco to Sanibel, 35 to 55 feet of water, wrecks and hard bottom using pinfish, grunts, or cut bait is probably going to work the best, Lauren.
Alrighty, off now to see Captain Jimbo Thomas in the Southeast region. And Jimbo, you think your region just might be one of the best for kayaks and canoes. Why don't you tell us why?
Oh, that's what I think, which doesn't mean much.
Oh, sure it does.
Oh, okay, we'll go that way. If you want to do some offshore kayak fishing, the Southeast region is probably one of the best areas to do it because the deep water is so close to shore. Now, off Miami, the drop-off is just over 2 miles from the beach. Then as you get further north along the drop-off, or get further north, the drop-off gets closer to shore. And in Palm Beach, it's roughly 1 mile offshore, which makes for an easy paddle from what I'm told. And since I've never been on a kayak, I'll take their word for it. I don't know about an easy paddle. So a lot of the new kayaks, they're rigged with bait wells, depth machines, and GPSs. And that makes it possible to fish these wrecks near shore for grouper, snapper, and jacks. And then you can fish the surface for sails, dolphin, and kings as well with that live bait well. Now, our friend Kwanzaa, who's in the studio there, he tells me he launches his kayak off Dania Beach, and he tells me it only takes about 30 minutes to make it out to the deep water when the weather's right. And then on the days when the weather isn't right to head offshore, kayaks and canoes, they're great for fishing the shorelines of the bays, lagoons, and the creeks. And you can really sneak up on fish because they don't draw any water and they're awfully quiet. So them snook and tarpon along the shoreline, that's ideal for targeting them. And then kayaks and canoes, they're ideal for exploring the Everglades or fishing for largemouth and peacock bass in your local lakes and canals. Now here I got a picture, and this is our friend Kwanzaa with the 30-pound blackfin that he caught in 190 feet of water off Dania Beach. That's a nice fish for anywhere on any kind of boat, if you ask me.
You're not kidding. All right, Jimbo, let's stay inshore. Tell us what's happening in the Southeast
you got
region.
It. Well, there's still plenty of snook around for catch and release. All the inlets are holding big schools of snook, with Lake Worth Inlet and Government Cut being the most productive. Now, the best baits in the north end have been live croakers, mullet, and pilchards. And then if you're fishing in the south end, it's been live herrings and pilchards. You want to fish them near the bottom on the outgoing tides, preferably in the evening. There's also been schools of small pilchards showing up off the beaches north of Boynton Inlet. And there's been schools of small snook have been following these schools of small pilchards. And you can target these snook from the beach or by boat using small live pilchards or pilchard imitating artificials such as Rapala, twitching wraps, or anything else that looks like a small pilchard. I've been speaking with Captain Danny Barrow. He's also been finding some big snook in the spillway canals in the early mornings on live baits and also around the bridges of the Intercoastal Waterway from Boca north. And he's been fishing the bridges in the evenings using both live and artificial baits.
All right, let's go offshore, bud.
You got it. Well, here we are. We're in the middle of August, and the sailfish have been biting as if it were March or April. They obviously don't have a calendar. And the main reason the sailfish has been good is because the Gulf Stream has been really close to shore, bringing good blue water and north current. And the conditions have been good throughout the region, and they are subject to change. So if you get out there and you don't see blue water where you're at, you might want to run north or south so you find some blue water. But as long as you can find some blue water in that north current, the fishing should remain good. There's been no shortage of wind in the last week, although it's supposed to calm down in the next couple days. So we've been fishing the kites in 120 to 180 feet of water. We're using live herrings and goggle eyes. And the most bites that we've had in a given day is 5 sailfish bites in the last week, but I've heard of boats having as many as 11 bites in a day. and that's good for any time of the year.
That's awesome. What else you got for me
All
offshore?
right. Well, along with those sail bites, there's been quite a few wahoos. There's been some nice wahoos caught towards the south, but the best bite has been in the Hillsborough to Boynton area. I've been talking with my friend Captain Art Sapp of Native Sun Charters. He's been catching wahoos up to 40 pounds on a daily basis, and he fishes out of Hillsborough Inlet. There's been some wahoos caught trolling, but the bulk of them are being caught on live baits. Captain Art's been fishing big live speedos, blue runners, and goggle eyes, and he's been getting bites under the kite. He's been getting bites on the flat lines and also on the deep lines, and he's been fishing in 150 to 300 feet of water. There's also been quite a few big kingfish around, especially up in that Hillsborough area. So with all those toothy fish, you want to use at least an 18-inch piece of number 5 wire leader, fish a 6/0 to 8/0 circle or J-hook. Now, just yesterday off Miami, there were some wahoos caught trolling, and there's been a few big dolphins starting to show up, so hopefully that keeps up as well. Not too far offshore either. And now I got a picture here, and this is Captain Art Sapp with 3 really nice wahoos that he caught off Hillsborough Inlet on live baits just a couple days ago.
Oh, man, those are great wahoos. Thank you, Jimbo. Great report. I'm going to go ahead and get to sports grill hotspots from the southeast region. Captain Jimbo says inshore, fish for snook in the local inlet using live croakers, pilchards, and herring in the early morning or the evenings, and then offshore, rig all of the live bait tackle with wire leaders and get in on some of that wahoo bite while it lasts, just like Art did.
All righty, when we return, we're going to have the Coastal Conservation Minute, and if Mama hasn't yet called him for dinner, we'll check in with Captain Russell, too. Rick, cross your fingers.
All right, I got him crossed.
Stay with us,
I'm crossing everything.
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Rapala. Catch the latest at Rapala.com. Reactor, the best built performance sports watch, period. Startron, cures and prevents ethanol fuel problems. Strike Zone Fishing. Suffix, the world's most hardcore fishing line. And Yamaha, reliability starts here.
At highway speeds, things can get pretty windy. That's why the Chevrolet Cruze Eco has active aero grille shutters that close at higher speeds to improve aerodynamics. With an EPA estimated 42 miles per gallon highway, the Chevrolet Cruze Eco offers the best highway fuel economy of any gas engine in America. Always thinking of ways to give you more while using less. That's American ingenuity to find new roads.
For over 30 years, Guy Harvey has masterfully captured the wonder of marine wildlife in his artwork. Now he's sharing his inspiration with the Florida Lottery by creating 12 exclusive images for the Collector Series Guy Harvey Scratch-Off game, featuring a top prize of $50,000 and a second chance opportunity to fish with Guy Harvey himself. Celebrate the beauty and riches of Florida with Guy Harvey Scratch-Off games today. The Florida Lottery. Just imagine.
You already know about the La Jolla Resort in Isla Mirada, so let's talk about the La Jolla experience. With an on-site boat ramp, the Gulf of Mexico and the Atlantic is just minutes away. And when you return from fishing, there's barbecue pits to cook your catch while your family enjoys the pool or one of our new remodeled rooms. This historic resort, the La Jolla, is family-owned and operated and has a friendly staff ready to make your La Jolla experience a really great one.
You know there's more to it than luck. There's fishing the right bait, the water temperature, the wind, the season, and then there's the boat. We'll put it simply, the boat matters. To own a Contender is to own the best sport fishing boat on the market, period. Contender offers the most comprehensive model range with bigger, faster, and more fuel-efficient boats than the competition. There's only one choice for serious anglers. Contender Boats. Performance through innovation.
Today's Costa Conservation Minute is about the Billfish Conservation Act, which President Obama signed in October of 2012. What this means is now we have a banning of any importation of billfish in the United States. And although there's no commercial fishery targeting billfish, unfortunately they were bycatch. And what I mean by bycatch, marlin, sailfish, and spearfish were being caught when guys were out trying to catch tunas as well as swordfish. Now we were importing over 300,000 billfish a year, and they were being sold in our restaurants. Now that's not going to be allowed to happen. What this means is the president of IGFA, Rob Kramer, says that they can take more of a robust action in international waters, helping save the declining billfish, which have declined in the last years up to 50%. There's been some great other supporters in this bill, and I gotta tell you, if you wanna know more about it, you go to igfa.org and find out how you can become more of a part of saving our billfish worldwide. That's today's Costa Conservation Minute. When they signed that, they had Congressman Tim Choate, who's one of the pioneer of Central American sail fishing and down in Central America. Job well done, guys. My hat is off to you for getting that passed and saving a lot.
Well,
of
and how
fish
cool
from
that
being
you
on
can
the
affect
menu.
like the global waters from right here in the Sunshine State.
And that's what
That's
IGFA
good.
does. They have a global presence.
Yep, all right. Okay, we're going to finish up the night in the Northeast with Captain Russell Theron. Russell, kayaks and canoes are pretty useful in your region as well, aren't they?
Oh, they sure are, Lauren. How are you doing tonight? Hey, Rick, and hi, Dave. How are you over there at the workbench?
Dave says hello. I don't know where the heck he is, but he says hello.
Hey, Russell.
I think he's taking a potty break. But let's go ahead. Talk about canoes and kayaks, Russell.
You know, Rick, we really have, some great places to kayak and canoe here in Northeast Florida. And it's one of the most effective ways to catch a lot of fish here. Now, some of the best reasons that you want to understand why the kayaks and canoes are so effective is because they can traverse the shallow creeks and mudflats where the larger boats are simply going to get hung up. The advantage to fishing from a kayak or a canoe is that you can stay longer in a location on an outgoing tide. And the advantage is that you can, actually allow yourself to get closer to fish without spooking them. And this is going to help you be able to catch more fish. In our estuary, there's literally hundreds of miles where saltwater creeks that are holding fish, and the only way you can get to them, Rick, is by either kayak or canoe. Now, staying inshore, I'm really excited to tell you about some good red fishing. My buddy, Captain Lawrence Piper of Angler Marsh Charter, has been doing really good, as hot as it's been last week, on catching some really nice red fish. Early morning on the flood tides, he's been using a 1/4-ounce hookup jig, and he's tipping that with live fingerling mullet to get the bite. Captain Lawrence is working the bottom really slow with the live bait, and he also likes to use artificials. Now, he'll switch over sometimes to a saltwater assassin, a golden black jerkbait, Rick Weedless, or use a 1/4-ounce hookup jig tipped with a saltwater assassin, gray ghost paddle tail sea shad. Now, also this weekend, you definitely want to check your tide chart because we've got a good outgoing tide. Also considered, are called the ebb tides, Saturday and Sunday mornings at first light. Now, this is going to give us some great topwater action from redfish and sea trout. Now, casting saltwater Rapala skitterwalks or a storm chug bug will give you that good surface strike. Now, what you want to do is target the shell beds next to the current points or at the small creek mouths along the ICW, anywhere from Amelia Island south down through Palm Coast. Also, what you want to pay attention to in the late afternoon, we're going to have a good flood tide Saturday and Sunday evening, which is going to give us an opportunity to fish for tailing redfish on the grass flats. The light tackle angler is also going to want to use a saltwater assassin black and gold brim jerkbait, Rick Weedless. Most of the redfish, Rick, in our region are running anywhere from 3 to 7 pounds.
Let's go offshore, Russell.
Offshore, Rick, we've been talking sharks and tarpon, but we got to talk about something good to eat and bring home to mama. And that's what I found out from Captain Bill down with Endless Summer Charters in St. Augustine. And he said that the mangrove snapper fishing has been really good. And I know you personally like those snappers a lot yourself.
Oh, I do,
Target
for sure.
those snappers in 120 to 130 foot of water over the artificial reefs and wrecks. and also on the live bottoms and ledges. Now, the clear offshore waters, the mangrove snappers are very leader shy. So you definitely want to be sure to use like 15 to 20 foot of a fluorocarbon leader, either 40 up to 80 pound test with about 6 to 8 ounce slip sinker to hold the bottom. Now, what you want to tie on is either a 3/0 or a 5/0 VMC circle hook. Some of the best baits for these mangrove snapper are definitely going to be cigar minnows and dead sardines. And some of the mangrove snappers here in our region are running anywhere from 6 to 12 pounds. Also, too, Bill is reporting that in the same location, they're catching vermilion snapper. Now, they're also known locally as our beeliners, and they are so good to eat. 120 foot to 130 foot of water over those artificial reefs and wrecks and natural live bottoms. Now, the base of the best bait for those vermilion snapper are going to be squid or either cut mackerel, Boston mackerel. The vermilion snappers are going to run anywhere from 2 to 2.5 pounds.
All right, great report, Russell. You are the man. I can't think of anything other than cheese grits that would make it better. But I'm going to go ahead and get to strike zone hotspots from the Northeast region inshore. Fish redfish Saturday or Sunday at daylight with topwater plugs or sight fish the grass flats on the flood tide at sunset. And then offshore, mangrove snappers in 120 to 130 feet of water over artificial reefs and wrecks. Use live cigar minnows or dead sardines is what's going to have you catch those fish.
No cheese grits this week, but he made Mama proud,
Yes,
as
he did.
usual. Way to go. Way to go, Rusty. All right, when we return, we're going to tell you what's coming up next week. Stay with us, guys.
For over 30 years, Guy Harvey has masterfully captured the wonder of marine wildlife in his artwork. Now he's sharing his inspiration with the Florida Lottery by creating 12 exclusive images for the Collector Series Guy Harvey Scratch-Off game, featuring a top prize of $50,000 and a second chance opportunity to fish with Guy Harvey himself. Celebrate the beauty and riches of Florida with Guy Harvey Scratch-Off games today. The Florida Lottery. Just imagine.
He's a 20 years straight, get to work on time. He's loved one woman for all his life. Everybody knows he ain't just tough, he's strong.
The all-new 2014 Chevy Silverado. Strong for all the roads ahead.
Hi. I lost a big fish earlier today. Wasn't using suffix. It was about this big.
Look, slow down there, cowboy, okay? A fish in the lost it van, huh? You want your fish. Sorry, honey, that fish is gone.
Always use the best line, Suffix 832.
Introducing Helmmaster, Yamaha's first fully integrated digital boat control system. With Helmmaster, you can start your outboards with a swipe of a paw and control them with a single lever. Outboard trim and steering friction adjust automatically as you accelerate and decelerate. Adjust engine speed with the touch of a button. The Helmmaster joystick provides the means to navigate and dock precisely with confidence and ease. Take control of your next vessel with Helmmaster at your command.
If you like fishing or the history of fishing, then I have a must-see place for you. The IGFA Fishing Hall of Fame and Museum in Dania Beach. What makes the IGFA so cool is that they have theaters where you can learn about the journey of fishing, galleries where the kids can see antique reels or catch a big one. The Hall of Fame room has over 140 beautiful fish mounts, and maybe in the E.K. Harry Library, you may see a live alligator. For more family fun, go to IGFA.org. Welcome back to the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report. Now, Dave, you know, kayaking is a huge part of what goes on here in Florida. We thought that we'd do an extra segment.
So much we do it twice.
So we're over here at the Jägermeister Workbench, but more importantly, let's talk about the inshore application that a lot of guys are doing here in Florida.
I was kind of lucky because I got to use some of the very first roto-molded surf kayaks that ever came to Florida. My buddy Tony Huerta is a big offshore fisherman now, but before we did a lot of inshore fishing. and he has a buddy who owns Travel Country, which is a big outdoor store in Orlando, and they got the first shipment of those things in, and he didn't really know what to do with them, and he said, hey, you guys, why don't you guys just go try to fish in these things? And this was like in, I don't know, 92 or something like that, 93.
Just after Horse and Buggy went out.
Exactly. It was a
Chevy
long
trucks
time
came
ago.
in.
It was a long time ago, and we went out on those things, and we had a blast. You know, we didn't have all the good tackle boxes and stuff like that, so we ended up turning them over and losing half our stuff half the time. But we really did well sneaking up on those redfish in really shallow water, and it kind of boomed from there in the Mosquito Lagoon because people saw us out there doing it, and after a while he started selling them, and boom, it just blew up.
If we're going inshore fishing in a canoe, in a kayak, what do we got to take with us?
Well,
what's the tackle?
Well, first off, you know, I'm always going to use a topwater plug early in the morning, like a skitter walk, like we call a skitter walk, because I love the topwater stuff, and the kayak is so good at getting into real shallow water, and you can see the fish in there, and they'll eat that topwater plug. So early in the morning, I like to throw the topwater plug. I like a chug bug. You know, you had one earlier, and that's my favorite plug of all time, and because it's such a low profile, and the fish doesn't push it out of the water when he tries to eat it. Some of these fatter plugs, sometimes the bow wave will knock them out of the way. But the skitter walk's a great plug, and if you're going to use that, topwater plugs, and you're also going to use some swim baits. You know, I like to use any of the Bass Assassin swim baits, either on a either on a jig or rig weedless. You know, but I normally rig them weedless where I fish, because over in the Mosquito Lagoon and Indian River, there's grass and stuff everywhere, so you're always fighting that. And that's another good thing about the topwater plug. Sometimes if the grass isn't floating, you know, you can use your topwater plug where you can't pull a spoon. You know, a gold spoon is automatic a lot of places, and it's hard for me. If I'm prospecting, which is you're doing a lot in a kayak, you're blind casting sometimes if you can't spot the fish. So what we'll do, I got my hand in there, but what we'll do is, you know, you'll throw that gold spoon prospecting around, and that thing is awesome.
And that's exactly the great point, because it's a search lure.
Right.
And these paddle tail baits, we've been saying it, because you just steady reel it, the vibration that it gets, that lateral line of those, it's not just a redfish bait, it's a snook bait, it's a trout bait.
Anything that'll eat a little fish will eat a paddle tail bait. And the same way with a bucktail jig. You know, I caught my first snook on a bucktail jig. I caught my first redfish on a bucktail jig. I caught my first big trout on a bucktail jig. And there's a lot of guys who won't throw them anymore. I guess they get tired of buying them and throwing them, but the fish have never stopped eating a bucktail jig.
No.
All types of fish in all types of water, you know, from grouper to, you know, to the littlest trout, they'll eat a bucktail jig. So if I'm going fishing in any inshore water at all, I'm going to have some bucktail jigs with me.
Now, have you ever caught a bonefish on a bucktail jig?
I have never caught a bonefish on a bucktail jig. I've only caught one bonefish in my life, and that was with you. So
what did you catch that on?
I don't know, probably a shrimp or something. I don't know.
Oh,
what it
I
was.
remember it was a Trigger X. But you know, the point is, in a kayak, Dave, we can, as you said, sneaking up on redfish is what you first experienced. Because certainly there's been lots of bonefish caught out of kayaks.
I'm sure.
Certainly in the Florida Keys, also in Biscayne Bay.
The silver catfish.
Throw a little hookup, you know, flats jig.
Yep.
But you know what, Dave? Whether you're fishing inshore, whether you're fishing for bonefish,
well, the sunglasses.
What color lens?
Well, a lot of guys that fish inshore like the amber color lens. My first pair of inshore glasses were a pair of Hobies that I really loved with amber lenses, and I tipped over in the kayak and lost them. That was one of the first things I did with those. So, you know, amber lenses inshore. I think it's personal preference. I kind of like blue lenses for both, but you know, it's personal preference. Most people who really know what they're doing like the amber and the gold lenses for inshore.
Hey, you had double duty tonight.
That was good.
I appreciated a little extra segment, you know. But Dave, there's also a Yamaha summer promotion sales event that's going on through August 30th.
I'm getting one.
Now guys, if you're thinking about repowering, what you need to understand is this event that goes through the end of August, you can either get 5 years of warranty protection or $2,000 in a cash discount through your dealership. Now, for more information about that, just go to YamahaOutboards.com, and you're gonna get all the details about that. Now, Lauren, I'm a detail kind of guy, and I notice you're standing in a new place. So tell me about it.
Well, I am. I want to say thanks to you guys, thanks to all of our regional captains, and thanks to this fantastic studio audience we had tonight for an awesome show. Luckily for us, we're going to do it all again next week when we're talking swordfish. You make sure to check us out next Thursday, August 22nd. You can also catch repeats on Friday and Saturday. Just visit Sun Sports and your local listings for more details.
Hey, crazy show tonight. I really enjoyed how we got to talk about Doris's day, your day, now Dave's day, the first guy to ever fish in a kayak. That's kind of awesome.
Very first one. I can claim it. Nobody can.
He's got the
gray
hair to show it in the stinky shorts. He even talked about his stinky shorts.
Yep.
You know what, though, Dave? Thanks for everything you do every week. You really do a great job.
No worries.
This show really is
absolutely
totally fulfilled when you're here. Hey, thanks for watching. We appreciate you very much.
Good
Here at
night.
the Chevy Florida Insider.